Rolling?
Yep.
Cool.
Am I going?
I thought you were going to intro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we good, Vic?
Yep.
All right, cool. Hey, guys. So, welcome to Drop Your Jeans, the fall version. If you guys haven't looked through the guide yet, it is a phenomenal guide. The team did a great job getting it together. Kyle's going to go over everything. I just wanted to apologize for us being late. The big thing, we actually got an order of supplements in. So Chris is actually on his way down. We should have vanilla protein and Kool-Aid BCAAs should be back in stock now for everybody who is waiting on those. So those should all be back in stock by this afternoon or tomorrow morning. So don't worry, we got enough. We're not going to run out again. So we should be okay. Kyle's going to go into the guide for you, and then I'm going to cover some stuff at the end. So Kyle, go ahead.
Yeah, guys, first of all, just welcome to the program. If you are a member, we're glad to be able to run this program again with you guys. It was super successful in June, so we are happy to be able to do this again with you. And then if you are a new client with us, we're just so glad to have you guys, and we're going to try and make this as clear as possible as we go through the guide. But as always, if you have any questions, you'll be able to ask them in the group, and you'll get your answer. We'll be able to help you out. Okay, so the cool thing about this program is that we found a different, more functional way to measure your progress, and that's the whole idea, and that's the idea behind the name as well. So it's called Drop Your Jeans because the jeans are the concept of the entire program. What you're going to do is you're going to buy a pair of jeans or find that pair of jeans in the closet that no longer fits, that is a size too small, and those are going to be your gauge of your progress primarily throughout the week. So you're going to take a progress picture at the beginning of the program. You're going to take a progress picture each week, and then at the end of the program. And by the end of the program, you're going to be fitting into those jeans, looking and feeling awesome. Okay. Now we're still going to measure inches. We're still going to measure the scale on a weekly basis, but we know over time and in our experience that sometimes those measurements can lie a little bit. Okay. They can't tell the whole story. So if we can add an extra measurement in there, something that you can see and feel, it's going to just add to the feeling of success in the program for you as we go through it. Okay, so that's the idea behind Drop Your Jeans. Make sure you get those jeans. We're going to be making sure you guys are taking your pictures and getting those all set up as you go through so that you can really see your progress. The Facebook group, guys, the group that you're in right now, super important. Think of it like a 24-hour hotline, okay? So you're not necessarily going to have access to your coaches at all times of the day because they have other things going on and they're super busy, right? So if you ask a question in this group, chances are you're going to get somebody who has done the program before or a coach that's going through the group as they do on a daily basis, and they'll be able to get you an answer to your question super quick, all right? Whereas if you ask a coach, it may take a while. If you use your phone, guys, and I know you can't see this, but right underneath the title of the group, there's all kinds of different functions, okay? So if you click on units, you're going to find videos on how to measure. You're going to find videos on how to calculate your body fat, walkthroughs of the facilities, all different really cool things, okay? Also at the top, you're going to be able to access the announcements section, okay? So anything that we feel is super important, we're going to pin to the top of the group. You'll be able to get there super quickly. The other thing is the file section. Okay, so if you scroll all the way over, go to the file section, you'll be able to find the manual, you'll be able to find any other type of documents that we have for you, like the planner, the schedule, all those things in the group. Guys, this group also has an awesome search function, okay? So if you go to the top of your screen in the Drop Your Jeans group and you click on the magnifying glass, you can type in anything you want or anything that might be pertinent to your question that you have, and you can see if someone has already asked that, because chances are they have, and you're going to get access to that question super quick, even quicker than you would if you asked a question in the group, okay? So I would highly suggest using that. It's going to be very helpful for you as we go through the program. All right, so newbies, just real quick, all right? If you are a new client coming in, make sure you check in at the front desk, okay? And we'll remind you of this again later. But there are iPads at the front desk that you need to check in, find your name, and click your name in the session that you're there for so that we know that you were there. Make sure you bring clean shoes, okay? You cannot wear your shoes that you wear outdoors into the facility. What most of our members and clients do is they wear flip-flops or something else, an older pair of shoes or their everyday shoes into the gym, and then once they're in, they change into their gym shoes so that those shoes are only used in the gym. That's super important. You're not allowed to work out with outdoor shoes, okay? It helps keep our floors super clean, helps maintain the antimicrobial properties of the carpets, and overall just maintains the cleanliness of the space. Bring a water bottle, okay? We have water fountains if you need them. but it always helps to have your water bottle. You can put all of your belongings in the cubbies as you walk into the facility. If you are a sweater, okay, bring a towel, okay? Bring something that you can wipe off with, or that you can wipe something down with real quickly before you get to that equipment, okay? We have a children area where your kids can hang out, okay, and keep themselves busy. We don't have formal child care, so make sure that your kids have something that they can do and can maintain their attention, okay? We'll go over the workouts a little bit more as we go along, but I'm not going to hit on that right now, all right? Measurements, guys, I'm not going to get into that too much because there are videos in the group, okay? So make sure that you are watching those. It explains things super, super quick and super easily so that you guys know how to do your inches, so you know how to measure your weight, which is pretty easy, obviously, and then your body fat percentage, okay? If you have any questions with that stuff, ask a coach when you come in, and we're going to be able to take care of you. We're going to be measuring weight, inches on a weekly basis. Your body fat is only going to be at the beginning of the program so that you can get your macros, and then at the end of the program so we can gauge your progress. And then we're going to be doing your before photos, your weekly photos in your jeans, and then your after photos. Those are all the measurements that you need to worry about at this time, okay? Coaching information. If you've done a program with us before, okay, you're not going to have individual coaches for this program. I know that's going to be a question. We do more of a team coaching approach during this program, which means you have access to all of them, okay? So when you're in the facility, if you have a question, any of the coaches are going to be able to help you. They're all very well versed in this program, in the manual, in the nutrition, all that stuff. So you can also reach out to them in the group, or you can reach out to them via private message as well, and they'll be able to help you.
They'll also be reaching out to you guys as well, so just please keep that in mind that especially to you new people, the coaches will be checking in just to make sure that you have everything squared away and you have any questions. All of our current clients already have all the coaches' numbers and can ask them anything whenever they want. So that's a resource that we give to our clients and that we're going to pass on to you guys for this program as well, as you always have access to our coaches. And just remember this, we can't read your mind. So if you don't understand something and you don't ask and get frustrated, that's the worst thing that you can do. The best thing that you can do is ask questions and make sure that you understand what's going on. Don't just go through this and pretend like you're too cool to ask questions. That will ruin your experience and we won't be able to get your results, and that doesn't make anybody happy.
Yep. So let's get into the program a little bit, guys. The program starts with some mindset topics at the beginning of the manual, okay? We've kind of narrowed it down to what is your why? Why would you do a program like this? Why is fitness important in your life? What are you doing it for, okay? The people, the things that you want to do, things of that nature. And then we also break down motivation versus discipline, because those are very common principles that are often confused, okay? So I want you guys to read through that stuff. It's very, very helpful, really, for anybody, even if that's something that you feel like you have a pretty good hold on right now. I would go through and read through it. Our coaches have put that together for you, okay? So they took time when we put this program together, used all kinds of different resources, which they'll be able to give to you if you want any more additional resources on these topics, and they're gonna help you throughout the program, okay, as you go through. We've also got some other cool documents that the team put together for you, like a daily planner where you can track your day and your activities. You can make sure you're hitting on those priority items. You can plan your meals all in one place, okay? So you can download more pages to that planner in the file section if you need more, or you can just go through the manual and print off a couple extras if you want to do that. But I think a lot of times it's very important to have that physical, tangible, written down plan in front of you, okay, to be able to check off those boxes. And I think there's a lot of value behind that, okay? So I would highly encourage you guys to use those aspects of this program because they make it what it is, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and jump headfirst right into the nutrition so that we can get through this and you guys can ask any questions that you may have in the group, okay? So direct macros, okay? We're gonna talk about direct macros real quick. In the manual, there is a food list, okay? The food list is broken down very clearly by proteins, fat, veggies, and carbs, okay? So if you have a food item and it falls under protein, carbs, or fats, that's what you count it as, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys an example, okay? Let's talk about chicken breast real quick. So in a serving of chicken breast, which is typically about 4 ounces, okay? It has about 24 grams of protein, 0 grams of fat, 0 grams of carbs. and you look at that food list, you know that chicken falls in the protein list, okay? So all we're gonna count is the protein in that food, okay? So it'll be 24 grams of protein towards your macros. And I'm gonna show you how to figure out your macros here in just a second. Another example, let's talk about peanut butter real quick, okay? So peanut butter falls in the fat list, on the food list, okay? In a serving of 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, which is a typical serving, you're gonna have about 16 grams of fat. You're gonna have about 6 or 7 grams of carbs, 6 or 7 grams of protein, give or take a few. Now, because it's in the fat list, we don't care about the protein, we don't care about the carbs, we're only gonna count the fat in that food item, okay? So it simplifies things dramatically, okay? And there is an example of this, a couple examples of this in the manual as well, of how we count macros to simplify it for you guys, okay? Let's talk about the program a little bit more specifically and how to count your macros, or how to get your macros, I should say, calculate your macros, okay? So, Vic, are you able to zoom in a little bit to this, to the board up here, or if not, it's not that big of a deal. So guys, this is the only calculation you have to do in this entire program, and it's super easy, okay? In order to do this calculation, you're gonna need your weight, and you're gonna need your body fat percentage. That's it, okay? Sorry, I should have prepped you for that.
There you go.
Cool. All right. So I chose a 200-pound male for you, okay, with 25% body fat. What we need to get is we need to get your lean body mass out of that, okay? So what all you're going to do, guys, is you're going to multiply your weight, that 200 pounds for this gentleman, times 0.25, which is your body fat percentage as a decimal, okay, and you get 50 pounds. Now that is 50 pounds of fat, okay, because we measured your percentage of body fat times your weight. So we need to subtract that weight, which is the 50 pounds, from the 200 pounds that this person weighs to get 150, which is lean body mass, okay? So we took the weight minus the body fat to get the lean body mass, okay? So that is the only calculation you need to do. It's also in the manual. After you have that information, you go to your handy dandy chart in the manual and you have your macros right there, okay? So these macros have all been pre-figured by our team to be appropriate for fat loss and to be appropriate for the given range, okay? Now, there's not a huge difference between the ranges, so if you're kind of like right at the bottom of one or right at the top of another, if you bump up or bump down, it's not gonna dramatically change your program at all, okay? But we want you to try and fit in the range that you fit in, okay? Now, you're gonna notice that there's low carb days and there's mod carb days. Week 1 is low carb, so you're gonna use the low carb macros, okay? Weeks 2 and 3 are mod carb, so you're gonna use the mod carb macros, which are the ones on the right side of the chart. And then in week 4, we're gonna go back to low carb to have a great week 4 and finish you up, okay? So I'm gonna show you an example of a low carb week. I'm not gonna show you mod carb right now because we'll talk about that as we go into week 2, okay? But if I'm looking at a 200-pound individual with 150 pounds of lean body mass, you guys can go to the chart and see that they're going to have about 155 grams of protein. They're going to have about 47 grams of carbs and about 83 grams of fat at their disposal. Okay? So those are their macros on a given day. Now you can choose 4 to 5 meals. It's up to you, okay? If you are someone that struggles with volume of food, you might want to eat more often. So you might want to go towards more 5. If you struggle with eating real often, you might want to go towards more volume, less meals, and hit the 4 meals, okay? Totally up to you. But I went ahead and did 4 meals here. The only principle that you guys need to remember when you are developing your meal plan is that your carbs are always going to come post-workout, okay? So in this example here, I'm going to go ahead and say that this gentleman is working out at 5 a.m. So his first meal is going to be protein and carbs, okay? You're going to have protein at every meal. Carbs are always going to be around your workout, either pre or post. After that, it's going to be protein and fat for the rest of the 3 meals, okay? So in other words, protein between 4 meals, you're going to spread them out evenly. Your carbs are going to be in the first meal if you're working out at 5 in the morning, and the fats are going to be between the remaining 3 meals, okay? That's how you are going to spread those out. You want to spread them out as evenly as possible, but if there's one meal that's a little bit more heavy than the others, and it's not like a massive difference, it's not going to be that big of a deal, okay? But we want you to have 4 to 5 relatively equal meals as you go throughout the day, okay? So that's how you fit your macros into your meals, all right? If you have any questions on that, you can ask in the group. You can even post your meal plan to make sure you're on the right track, and we'll make sure that you got it. Let's talk about the intermittent fasting component, because this is going to be a huge question, okay? So the first thing I want to tell you guys is that intermittent fasting, while it can be very, very beneficial to fat loss and to this program in particular, I don't want you guys to get so caught up in the intermittent fasting component that you completely blow the program for yourself, okay? So it's a cool thing to be able to try and to have another tool in your tool belt, but if it's not working for you, it's not that crucial. You're still gonna get great results in the program even if you're not doing the intermittent fasting, okay? So I need you to understand that, because I know that's gonna be the #1 question. Now,
so if there was a priority system, guys, it would be hit your macros, right, and get that figured out. The second thing would be make sure that you're doing your post-workout correctly. And then the third most important thing would be intermittent fasting. So if you feel really comfortable doing 1, awesome. If you feel really comfortable doing 1 and 2, great. If you feel really comfortable doing 1, 2, and 3, awesome. But in that order is what your comfort level should be working towards. It should not be the reverse. Too many people get caught up in the nuances instead of the real results, which is the macros are always king. Because if we can control what's going in, that's always the #1 step to fat loss, is control what's going in.
Yep, and intermittent fasting at a glance, guys, is just eating between a specific window, okay? So the most research, I believe, has been done on a 16 to 8, which means you're not eating for 16 hours, you're eating your meals within an 8-hour window. So in this example, you would get these 4 meals in an 8-hour window if you were doing 16-8. Now, if you've never done it before, you have everything else on track and you want to try it, do you have to start at 16 to 8? No, okay? You can start with a much broader window and then start to work your way up to a more narrow window to get the benefits out of it that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah,
okay?
I think the benefits, the last study that I read about it, benefits start at 12-12.
Yep.
And then they kind of cap at 16-8. So there'll be some people, again, who are hardcore. Is it better to go longer than 16? No, there is not any scientific data that says after you hit that 16-hour mark that it does anything hormonally in the body that would accelerate your fat loss past 16 hours.
For what we're trying to accomplish.
For what we're trying to accomplish, right.
Yep. So, guys, I guess what I'm saying is if you've never done it before, you can start with 12 to 12. And I think what people don't understand is most people do intermittent fasting per the definition anyway, right? So we sleep all during the night, we don't eat, we wake up, we start eating while we're awake, okay? That's what it is, okay? They're just eating through a much more narrow window. So
if you think about it this way, if you were sleeping for 8 hours, right, you would just not eat 2 hours before you go to bed and not eat 2 hours after you wake up, there's 12 hours.
Yep.
Simplest way to think about it.
Absolutely. Now, let's say you're a 5 a.m.er, just to give you an example, and you're eating or you're working out first thing in the morning at 5 a.m. and you want to try intermittent fasting. Your first meal after you break your fast, okay, would be your carb meal at that point. Does that make sense? And then after that, the rest of your meals in your eating window would be protein and fat. Now, I know there's going to be all kinds of questions with your specific situation. That's when you ask it in the group and we get you an answer, okay? So I would recommend you guys posting your meal plans in there. Look through, see if anyone else has a similar situation as you, and we'll be able to handle that for you. I want to talk about cheat meals real quick, okay? So cheat meals, you're going to get one on Saturday every week, okay? Cheat meals, if you remember with us prior, you know that cheat meals are not cheat days, okay? And they're not something that extends any further than one meal. We want it to be a break for you. We want it to be a reward for a solid week. Now, if you had a really crappy week of eating and you didn't do the plan and it kind of blew up on you, you should probably skip that cheat meal, okay? Because you didn't earn it. But if you had a great week, you did everything per the plan, you didn't have any slip-ups, you feel really good, take that last meal off on Saturday, don't count anything, and have something that you really enjoy, okay? So it can literally be anything you want as long as it doesn't get out of hand. So if you like pizza and beer, cool. If you want to go out to eat and have a glass of wine, cool. It's just got to end after that meal. Now, we always recommend that you have a 2-drink limit if you're drinking alcohol or if that's your thing during your cheat meal, okay? Because any more than that, your inhibitions start to go. Next thing you know, your cheat meal is extended, you're having more drinks, and then you wake up next to that box of pizza and you blew everything that you did during the previous week or two, okay? So you want to make sure that that's not getting out of hand. Keep your cheat meal to 1 meal and keep your drinks to 2 drinks max.
Yeah, unless it's wine, then you can have a bottle.
There we go.
Please don't do that.
No, don't do that.
Please
That was a joke. That was a joke. Oh, Aaron said I could have a bottle of wine on my cheat meal. Other beverages, guys. Coffee and tea, just real quickly. You can have coffee and tea. With your tea, just make sure it's not a fruit tea. Make sure there's no added carbohydrates in there that are going to throw you off. With your coffee or your tea, I guess for that matter, make sure whatever you're adding to it is used sparingly, okay? So, you know, you guys can use the creamers. We typically recommend like the almond or coconut milk natural creamers, okay, that are less full of additives and crap, and then use them sparingly, okay? It's hard for a lot of people to understand sometimes when they're drinking 2, 3, 4 cups a day and they're adding that every time, how many extra calories and how much extra crap that adds over the course of the day and over the course of the week. And then you get to the end of the week and you didn't make the progress you want and wonder why. So make sure that you limit that. Remember also that your coffee and tea do not count towards your water intake, okay? So you need to take in up to half your body weight in ounces of water a day. I should say up to a gallon, okay? So half your body weight in ounces of water a day, up to a gallon. There's really no reason for anyone to drink more than that unless you're working outdoors in the heat all day long and you are expending a ton of water throughout the day and you need to replace it, okay? Other than that, half your body weight in ounces of water a day. That's critical for fat loss, okay? Veggies. I explained to you guys the meal plan here, okay? With 1 carb meal, the rest are going to be protein, fat. In addition, you have to have 4 to 6 servings of veggies a day, okay? There's a lot of research behind that and how it keeps you alkaline, keeps your body in more of a fat loss environment, so to speak, okay? And allows you to readily use that protein that you're taking in because this is a higher protein diet. So you need to make sure that you're adding 4 to 6 servings of veggies a day. Now, what is a serving, right? Typically, it's a handful of a nice green fibrous veggie, okay? Like spinach, broccoli. Do you guys need to throw your veggies on the scale? No, okay? We're never gonna tell you to do that because the chances of you overeating green fibrous veggies are very, very minimal, okay? It's not gonna happen. So get those in 4 to 6 servings a day, and that's what contributes to the volume of food that you're eating. This is not a program, guys, where you're gonna feel like you're not getting a lot of food. This is gonna feel like a lot of food for you, and you're most likely gonna be surprised at the results that you can have by eating this volume of food, okay?
And I think the big thing to remember is I know that there's probably some people, especially if you've never been here before, who feel like this is a ton of information being thrown at you. And remember, the goal of our programs is we want you to be super adherent for 4 weeks for the purpose of figuring out what you really liked afterwards. Remember, guys, our clients have lost over 125,000 pounds in 4 years now. And the reason that you see all the pictures that you see and all the results that you see and all the people who lose 25, 50, 75, 100, 150 pounds on our program is not because they do this hardcore every day. This is not a sustainable way for most of us to live. We understand that. What we're trying to do is throw a bunch of habits into your body that are super great for you. And then afterwards, we're able to sit down with you and say, okay, well, what did you like? What can you get away with? What really made you feel better? And then we'll incorporate a few of those things into your normal life and maybe bring some things back in that you missed, and we'll work on taking you to that next step. So I don't want you to freak out and be like, this is just so much stuff, especially if you've never been here. Trust us, there's a method to the madness here. We just really want you to get 4 weeks of incredible results, and then we'll work on what's next when that time comes. So don't freak out, just take it one step at a time. I know this can be a lot of information.
Yeah, guys. So what I would do if I were you, if you were a new client or even a current client, what I would do is take your food list, right? And to start things off, I would just go through that food list and circle the foods you like, star the foods you like, however you want to do it, and just cross off the foods you don't like, okay? Because in our programs, the way that we teach these, we're never going to tell you to eat something that you don't like, okay? Because that's not sustainable. You're not going to stick with it and you're not going to be successful. The food list is very extensive. Okay? Now, if you eat the same things all the time, it's not going to seem so extensive, but there's a lot of options there. So when you're developing your food or your meal plan and you're trying to decide what to go buy at the grocery store, circle the things you like so it makes it a little bit easier. Okay? In the past, we've kind of suggested coming up with 2 different meal plans, okay? So maybe you want to come up with a Monday, Wednesday, Friday meal plan for week 1, and then a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday meal plan for week 1, and then you have a little bit of variety in there. If you're eating the same things all day and that's not your thing, you're not going to be successful. Now, I can eat the same things every day and I'm totally cool with it, okay? If that's you, by all means, eat the same things every day if that's going to make you successful. I just think a little bit of variety is a good thing, okay? Last thing I want to touch on, guys, before I let Aaron take over here, is because our vegetarian vegan community and things of that nature has kind of grown a little bit, we've always had a vegan vegetarian program, and what we did was we took that information and put it into a DYJ format. Okay, so that you guys don't, if you're vegan vegetarian, that you don't necessarily feel like you're doing a different program or that it's hard for you to kind of connect those dots as you go from the vegan vegetarian program to DYJ. Okay, so that's available in the files section. I'm not going to go into that a whole lot. You guys can read through it, and if you have questions, go ahead and ask. I would not recommend doing that if you weren't vegan vegetarian before this, okay? So don't get that wrong.
Don't do that.
Don't start that with this program. That's just not a smart thing to do, okay? Our recommendation is always going to be to go with the original program, okay? But if that's a lifestyle that you lived prior to this, by all means, go for it, okay? And then we have some clients that can help you with that, and we'll refer you to them as well if you have any questions, okay? So I'm going to let Aaron go into supplements a little bit, and then we'll probably we're going to hit on some Q&A maybe another time.
Yeah, if you want to, what I was going to say is if you want to go through while I'm doing this and just go through the group, see if there's any good questions that we can answer, we'll write them down, we'll answer them real quick. Otherwise, guys, just throw your group, just throw your questions in the group as a normal post, and all the coaches, all the clients who've been through our programs before will be able to help you get the answers that you need. It's not a big deal. I just want to cover supplements really quick because a lot of people ask about them, and we do a sale this week and next week for you guys. It's $15 off any 3 of our products, okay? So the reason that we do that and the reason that we sell supplements, honestly, is out of convenience. It's not necessity. You don't need any of the things that I'm about to tell you about. However, if some of the scenarios that I talk about make sense for you, it may make sense to do that to make your life a little bit easier. So protein powder. Again, our protein is a whey isolate protein, okay? It's the highest absorption that you can get in a protein form, but really what it would be used for is 3 main things, okay? If you're looking through all this food, you're calculating your macros, and you say, I don't eat that much, and I'm not a big eater, and me eating that amount of volume is gonna be an issue, well, we still want you to be able to get your macros in. So if you need to have a couple shakes where you're mixing your protein in with maybe some fats or maybe some carbs to get your macros in every day, that's a very easy way to make sure that you're hitting your macros, and you can have up to half of your meals as shakes every day. So if you'd like to have 2 shakes a day and you're doing 4 meals, no problem at all. The second thing is if you're a big sweet tooth person like I am at night, okay? So before bed, I have to have something sweet. So what I typically do is I'll have a protein shake right before bed, or when I'm, around the house with the kiddo and the wife, watching Netflix right before bed, I'll shake up a shake and drink that. So I get that sensation of that sweet tooth fixed, and I'm also not being detrimental to my diet at the same time. So if that's you. And then the third thing is if you're super busy and you're running around all the time, protein tends to be a great way to kind of always have a meal with you that's going to be a healthy snack that'll help keep you full and help you hit your macros. So if any of those things sound like something that you struggle with, talk to a coach about the protein. come Monday, okay? And I'll be doing another video later this week about a surprise that we have for supplements as well. But for right now, I'm just going to go over the main categories that we have. Now, the second one is BCAAs, okay? BCAAs, again, completely unnecessary, especially if you're eating all your protein. So why would people have them, or why would we take them? So two reasons mainly for this program. One is helping with water intake. A lot of people get bored drinking water. This is a great way to flavor your water because all the chemical stuff like Mios and Crystal Lights and all the powders and squirts that you would put in your water are not really that good for you when they're all chemicals, okay? So we would prefer you not to use those. This is a great way to do that. The second reason would for BCAAs would be if you're sore and you want help with recovery, that's a great product. And then the third, I guess there is three. The third reason would honestly be with the BCAAs is if you're doing intermittent fasting, okay, giving your body something to fuel on. BCAAs are almost an essential aspect of intermittent fasting because you're not eating for that window. Well, your body still has to feed itself. So giving it those BCAAs to feed on will help preserve that muscle and help you recover faster. So that would be the third reason that you may want to look at taking a BCAA. Those are the main three. Now, the only other real product that I would recommend, and I'm going to go through all of them, but the only other real staple that we have is our, it's called Gut Check, and it's a probiotic digestive enzyme supplement. It's all in one pill. So it's going to help with gut health. It's going to help prevent disease. It's going to help clean out your system. It's going to improve your gut microbiome. If you've never researched probiotics, you should. They are the number one product that we sell, and it's the number one product because it's the healthiest product that we sell, okay? Everyone in my family takes it every single day. My in-laws take it, my family takes it, all our coaches take it because you can't get a better supplement for less money. That's why I built this one. But that is a really great supplement for you to take to help make sure that you're preventing getting sick, your immune system's at the top of its game, and obviously then it helps clean out all the old gunk that may be in there, okay? So the first few days you may have some larger than normal bowel movements. That's okay, it's just cleaning your system out, okay? So it's a great way to lose a couple extra pounds as well that first week if you've never taken one. Now, the rest of the products that we have a fish oil product, which is great if you're eating a higher protein, moderate fat diet like we have you on. Obviously for hair, skin, and nails, that's great as well. A green supplement, if you don't like veggies, okay, you could count this as a scoop of your veggies. That's totally fine. It's also all of your micronutrients all in one. Great product, especially if you hate veggies, all right? I like to mix mine in my post-workout shake. I take a scoop of the greens and a scoop of either the marshmallow cereal protein or the vanilla protein, and that way I get my macros and my micros all in the same shake. So that's what I like to do with mine. On top of that, we only have two other products. So we have our pre-workout, which if you like pre-workouts and you want energy while you work out, you take a scoop of it 15, 20 minutes before you work out, and you'll have a really good workout, really insane energy. That would be the only time you want to take that. You don't want to take that for before you go to work, like a cup of coffee. It will do terrible things to you, okay? And then the only other product that we have right now is called Got Me Like. It is a stimulant-free fat burner with a heavy stim focus agent, okay? So if you don't do good with things like caffeine, it's probably not for you. I don't recommend it for anybody who has any type of issues with that kind of stuff. But all of the fat-burning ingredients in it are natural. All of the focus agent ingredients are not natural. They are stim-heavy focus ingredients. So if you feel like, sometimes when we're dieting, we feel lethargic, our energy's down, things like that, this is a great 4 to 5 hour boost for energy that you can take. I just wouldn't take it 4 to 5 hours before you go to sleep. That's really the only thing that I would recommend with that. But guys, when you come in, here's the only rule with supplements in our stores, okay, and in our gyms, is we really don't want to sell them to you unless you're explaining why you need them and why it would benefit you. And I know that's a terrible way to sell things, but we would rather make sure that if you're going to spend your money, that you're going to actually get the value out of that money, okay? The number one thing we don't want to do is have you come in, buy a fat burner, go home, and you eat pizza every night, okay? That's just going to waste the money on the fat burner. We just want to make sure that you understand how to use it, that we're solving the problems or the inconveniences that you have with product. That is our job. Remember, if you're eating whole foods and you're eating healthy and you're exercising, you don't need any of this. That being said, there are conveniences of how to do this. So the only other thing that I would cover with you guys is if you do take things like Herbalife, Vitalis, Body by V, Shakeology, whatever the moms on Instagram are selling, make sure that you just turn it over and look at the back of the label, because what we want is a protein supplement. So when we're talking about protein supplement, ours are guaranteed they're going to work and they're exactly what you need. When you flip those over, you want the protein over 20 grams of protein. You want the fat and the carbs under 5 grams each, okay? Otherwise, it's a meal replacement shake. Nothing's wrong with those products. I'm sure they're wonderful, but they're considered meal replacement, not protein powder, okay? It's not a protein supplement, it's a meal replacement shake. So if you're concerned that you have stuff at home that you want to use and you don't know if it'll count, flip it over, take a picture of the nutrition label, and post it in the group, and we'll be more than happy to tell you whether it's good or whether you should wait till after the program to begin using it again. And we can recommend when it would be best to use that so that you're getting the most optimum results from that product. But that's supplements in a nutshell.
Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, throw them in the group real quick, okay? I want to address one thing that I didn't address, and Aaron kind of touched on it. In the group, there was a question earlier this week about diet sodas, water additives, things of that nature. Are they outlawed in the program?
No.
No, okay, but do we recommend them? No, okay? And here's why. A lot of times with fat loss and artificial sweeteners, because you've used those things for so long, you don't really know how your body is reacting to it, okay? So if you always use those artificial sweeteners in your water, you're drinking, 3-4 Diet Cokes a day, you don't know what your body's capable of without it, okay? And a lot of times our bodies react very differently and make us hold water and do weird things with those artificial sweeteners because they're not easily digestible. So we recommend at least going the first half of the program without them, okay? Seeing where you are, and then if those are things you just can't live without, then you can start to add them in small portions and see how they affect your body, right? Otherwise, you never know, okay? So that's how we would address the diet sodas and things of that nature.
And again, just to touch on that really quick, guys, that is a perfect example of a very nuanced question, right? So here's what I would tell you is if you don't know how to eat right, you don't know how to pair your foods, you're not exercising all that much, you're maybe not the most consistent person when it comes to diet. Don't worry about like spring water versus alkaline water or diet sodas versus, not killing your neighbor at work. Like if you need a Diet Mountain Dew so you don't punch the person who works next to you at work in the face, have the Diet Mountain Dew. What we're saying is let's focus on the big things first. And if we're not 100% adherent to the program, that's okay as long as you're honest with us back and forth. So you say, hey, I'm really working on the food and the workouts. I have to have my diet soda. I have to be able to do this. I have to be able to do that. So I'm adhering to the program, but these are the steps that I'm following. So remember, food is the most important, right? Exercising is second right behind that. And then down the list, everything goes, right? Intermittent fasting, supplementation, sodas, water, like all those little bitty nuances are down the list, okay? The number one most important thing you can do is start working on the nutrition and just get used to working out 3 times a week. For a lot of you, especially if you're new, that's gonna be more than enough to get you started with results. And as you get more comfortable, we can add more stuff for you. But I just want you guys to understand that the nuanced things like that are going to be questions that we don't need to focus on, okay? Because they're not going to be really important down the road. We'll answer all those things, but again, don't freak out, don't get anxiety, don't waste your time on the minuscule things when we really want to focus on the big things.
Yeah, I always talk about 4 principles, okay, to be successful in the program. Make sure that you're hitting your macros, understanding how to read and measure food, okay? Making sure you understand how to develop a meal plan. The second one is get your 3 workouts in a week minimum, okay? And then veggies and water. If you're hitting those 4 things, guys, you're gonna be successful every time in the program.
Right.
Okay? The next question I have is from Debbie Forbes. How do you split them up if you do 5 meals a day? So Debbie, if you wanna do 5 meals a day, you just add this 5th meal on and you would just have another protein fat meal. So you would divide your fat between 4 meals instead of 3 and your protein between 5 instead of 4, okay? So they're just gonna be a little bit smaller meals as you go throughout the day.
Good question.
Yeah, very good question. Debbie, is it okay to eat more protein than suggested? No. Eat what's in the prescribed macros, okay, or in the macros that are given to you in the chart, okay? And those are there for a reason, right? So if we wanted you to, or if you were going to eat more than that, you're not going to be successful.
With that being said, though, Debbie, please understand that there are, again, and this would be another nuanced question that we could spend hours going back and forth on, but the one thing I would recommend that you do is if you're worried about protein intake, also worry about the absorption rate of the foods you're taking, right? So if you're really worried about that number, understand that some foods, the absorption, you can go Google absorption rates of protein and go find it if you really want to nerd out on that. But there are foods that you will absorb more protein of than, say, like broccoli, okay? So like the absorption rate of broccoli is like half of the protein that you're eating, whereas like shrimp and steak are much higher, okay? So just understand that you can make sure that the amount of grams that you're getting are higher absorbed grams. If you really feel like you're under eating protein, that is always an option that I would recommend. But remember, we still have kidneys and we still have livers that need to be able to process all this as well. So we don't want to, we play the balance very well. And remember that our programs, okay, this isn't bro science, remember that. So he's a doctorate of physical therapy. So all of our programs, your workouts are ran through him. He makes sure that they're balanced through the week, every single week. All of our nutrition programs are looked through with our doctorate of nutrition on staff who goes through and makes sure that they're safe, effective, and smart. Okay, so this isn't just a couple of guys who like to work out trying to give you information. This is very, very science, data-driven stuff that we're trying to make sure that we keep health as the main priority and fat loss right behind it. Okay, but health always has to come before fat loss in any program, and any person who tells you otherwise is dangerous, and you should be very careful with that, okay?
Nicole, we are not going to do your measurements for you, but we will help teach you how to do them via the videos, and a coach can help you in person if you need to, okay? And that's super important for this reason, right? For example, with inches. We want you to learn how to do that because everyone pulls with a little different amount of tension with the measuring tape. If someone's doing it for you, they're going to do it in just a little different area than you would yourself, whereas you're going to have much more consistency if you're doing it yourself, and you're going to get much more of a true response. And then also, if you're using a scale, we want you to use the same scale all the time. So that might be at your house, it might be at the gym, whatever you choose. Yes, if you have not done paperwork yet, I believe the admins are reaching out to you if you're a new class.
You can come in anytime and do it beforehand.
Yep.
And I would recommend doing that, guys. So that way you can take advantage of the supplement sale. The admins can walk you through anything that you might need. But also the biggest thing is then when you come in, you don't have to come in early and have to worry about how much paperwork you have to do or anything else. You're all squared away to go. So that's an option. Obviously, if you want to come in before your workout 15 minutes early, 10 minutes early, just to make sure we can get all your paperwork squared away, cool. That's another option for you. But sometimes people like to see the facility and get eyes on it and make sure that they're ready to go day one instead of showing up day one, getting everything done, and then getting the workout.
And we'd love to be able to help you get your body fat percentage so that you can get your macros appropriate as well. Okay,
right.
Like right off the bat.
Right.
Okay?
Otherwise, you're kind of starting behind the game a little bit, which there's enough to worry about without having to worry about rushing as well. So,
guys, that's about it on the questions. What I'm gonna do, okay, on Friday, I'm gonna go live, and I'm gonna do a quick explanation of what you can expect from the workouts, what you can expect when you walk in on that first day, how we warm you up, stuff like that. And I'll do a quick Q&A as well, okay? So if you have any burning questions that haven't gotten answered in the group, I will be able to answer those for you. Make sure we're all set to go going into Monday. Make sure you guys are totally prepared.
Yeah, and I'll have Saturday morning, I will do another video as well. It'll actually be for all the clients. But I'll be doing a video as well about something that we have coming up, a video or a post that you guys will be excited about. It's a pretty cool thing. We're excited about it. So.
Cool. I think that's it, guys. Use that group, okay? It's super important. It's going to be real beneficial for you, okay? So if you have any questions, throw them in there. Thanks for watching.
See ya.